Now we want to do this exact same thing. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here because we want to, but we don't want to register for a button. We want to register it for the access. So register input access listener, and of course it's not going to be a button listener. This is going to be Ouya access listener and Ouya SDK dot input access event. So I really guess I should have just typed it out because I don't have to change anything anyways. So we want to do this as an access event, and of course we want to change this to handle the access event. But everything else is pretty much the exact same, so all was not lost. So what this is going to do is actually pass our success events. So anytime something happens, a button's pressed or the access moves, it's going to pass it into the Ouya input manager. And from inside the failure code there. So anytime that we want to use that information, really all we have to do is use our Ouya input manager dot get access, and we want to specify a string of what the access is. Now if you take a look at his input manager, it's all right here inside of here. So you have left trigger, right X, right Y, which is your right joystick, and your left X, left Y, which is your left joystick. So we want to do like the LX and LY and tie this in. We can just say Ouya input manager dot get access LX and our vertical. Stupid mouse gets in the way all the time. So Ouya input manager dot get access ly, and now our character will move based on the joystick. So, but there are kind of some problems here. So the main problem that I was having is with the dead zone, because our it's not exact. This is, I found out later on, was a pretty much a common problem with the across all gaming console platforms, is that you don't always have an exact 0 for your center, and because of that we have to kind of have a dead zone. So I really didn't know how to do that, so I did a little research and I found a nice little bit of code here, and this will be provided in some sort of an example that you can download and be able to use this. But what this looks like it's doing is checking to see if you're inside of a dead zone, and if you are, it's setting your point to 0. So we can actually specify a nice dead zone radius. And what I really like about this solution versus other solutions that I found is that this goes by a radius, which means that it's not a square box dead zone. This is actually a dead zone, a circular dead zone, which makes a lot more sense when you're handling access. So what we're going to do is replace, I went too far up. We're going to replace this with our axis information, and let's go copy paste that, and we're going to give it a radius, let's say 0.25f. You can play around with your exact dead zone that you'd like to use. We can get rid of this now. And what this is going to do for you is give you a real nice controller. So if you stop touching the controller, it's going to stop your character and give you some a nice dead zone for you. So next we want to set up some animations. Oh, actually, you know what? First I'm gonna show you how to handle. So that lets you handle moving the joysticks. But what we also want to do is handle button presses. So I like to do this in a separate method. So I'm going to go handle controller input, and this isn't going to really return anything, it's just going to handle and do stuff. So stick this in here, and we'll do that first to handle any button presses. So first thing we're going to do is say if Ouya Input Manager, and this is what I really like about this static class, is I can just say is button down and which button I want. Now don't be fooled by this other thing. I know if you've had any experience with Unity, you generally do stuff in the get button up method, and unfortunately this isn't event driven like the Unity button events. So really the get button up is kind of like its default state. So you can say is like use it to check to make sure that a button is not pressed, but I wouldn't rely, it's not really the up state of that button, because that's always being triggered. So as soon as it's not down anymore, really this is the only option that we have at this time, is the get button down. So what is it that I want to do? Well, let's go take a look at what animations we want to play. So the O, let's look at our skeleton. We have all these animations here. Let's make it attack. So we want to go this dot animation dot play, and we can tell it to play the attack animation. So now we've handled your basic attack animation, and then when you press the O button. Let's see. So when he's just sitting there, we kind of just want him to play the idle animation. This is another really good reason why we did this here, is because we're sticking it into a vector too, which means that we can use the normalized X and the normalized Y to tell if this object is kind of in the dead zone. So what we want to do is go if point dot normalized dot X is not equal to 0, and the point dot normalized dot Y is not equal to 0,